So it didn't take much to recognize that Linda, one of the patterns, of course, with Linda and others who are in that creative entrepreneurial place, is what they value in employees. And that goes all the way back to hiring people. And she had and still does have an incredible acumen for recognizing people's talents and really helping and nurturing them to recognize those talents in themselves. She believes in people who are very creative and market aware, who like to try new things and take risks, who are curious and creative about their job responsibilities, and who have a strong, mature work ethic. When I was reading this, of course, I was reading what Linda is in herself, all of those things that she values in her employees. And there are many of us that have passed through Interweave's doors that were hired, here's your job, and then figure it out along the way, because that's part of the creative nature. And it was good, because it did push us to places where we didn't recognize where we would be going. And it's that road, that path that you need to travel on for yourself. One of the things that I found, I'm not done with Living's Laws yet, I'm getting there. I was interspersing things along the way here. So bear with me, because I came across some things that I must read to you. Interweave had what was called sheep sheets. And they were the Interweave's newsletter. And it was through these writings that I noticed a number of other things that came to pass, was how much was shared throughout the company. And that if you didn't know something was going on, it was really your own fault, because these sheep sheets, typewritten, conveyed what was going on in circulation and sales and advertising and book printing, as well as things that Linda was thinking about at the time or questioning the employees about. For instance, this one from March of 1988, which was a question of conscience. I've been reading so many increasingly disturbing things lately about the political situation in South Africa that have made me feel we should evaluate our policy on sending our products there. And this goes on, asking for employee feedback about whether or not we go on as we have, or the assumption that craft is outside politics, or that we can make a difference, and what do you think? And there were conversations that happened from this, of talking to the employees about what they thought Interweave should do. She also has a very wicked but understated sense of humor at times. You never know what's going to come out. So this was a flash that was handwritten on a sheet in January of 1988. And it says at the top, flash, flash, 2 items that almost got omitted. Karen E. says, wrap your potatoes in saran when you bake them in the microwave. It keeps them moist. Sharon poached an egg in her microwave last Sunday, and when she started to eat it, it exploded all over her and the kitchen. Moral: next time you eat a poached egg, wrap yourself in saran. I get this going. Okay, the other Ligon's law was don't go into occupied territory. Linda stayed out of occupied territory for many years in terms of the publishing company. The fact is the early titles didn't have much, if any, competition, or at least until online publishing came into being. Linda broke this rule in the late 90s, but only because she didn't consider the territory to be very occupied. And that was with the launch of the now highly successful Interweave Knits magazines and all the products that have stemmed from it. So I think the conclusion on that is occupied territory can be very good because the market can keep expanding. So that brings us back to law number 2, that work expands to fill the occupied space. On law number 5, listen to your heart and gut, not just your head. Linda is a visionary and is not afraid to share her visions or to make them happen. It was a vision that led her to start the Earth Companion in 1988. And it was a vision, and she'll have to tell you that story. There was also another very highly successful magazine. And just so you know, Interweave did publish magazines outside of the craft, although you consider Earth Companion in a way certainly had to do with craft. But she always pursued her own things that she was passionate about, and cooking and herbs at that time certainly went hand in hand. And also Natural Home magazine that was launched years later, maybe a little bit before the market time, but that was successful in its own right as well. But during most of Interweave's history, Linda followed the feminine principle of listening to the heart and intuition. However, these principles don't always lead to smart business decisions. They did, however, keep Interweave nimble in making decisions when the market and times demanded it. And the last law, which is law number 6, is network. Linda has always taken time to reach out to people and to stay in touch with people in many walks of life and to give back. She's been on many boards, the Independent Magazine Advisory Council, the Business Advisory Council at UNC, the Denver's Publishing Program, and the Andean Textile Arts Association. It's the way she always knew what was going on to stay close to the competition and to know just the right person to reach out to. And many employees came to work to Interweave because of this. They knew Linda, they trusted her as a colleague, and they recommended others. She's a stellar example for entrepreneurial women to follow, not only in publishing, but in any business.